I'm not a fan of this Ms. Marvel show. I'll explain why. If you think, okay, what's a Pakistani girl? We're definitely going to get some themes and elements from that culture infused into this series. You'd be right to think that, and it'd be a very logical thing to do. It'd be authentic to have that. But to have the whole story and plot kind of be sidetracked or just be put away, just so you can include these things is what's happening in the show. It's taken away from what could be, which is Kamala Khan being the best superhero in the MCU. From the first episode, it looks like where we were going. The director of episode 2, 3, the director of episode 4, 5 had a different plan in mind. I think that person, these people thought, well, what we're gonna do is familiarize the audience who may not be familiar with somebody of this background with this background, not the character, not Kamala. It was more so about everything she represents, all the check boxes that she checks in the diversity quota of what Marvel was doing. It was like, no, no, no. It's not enough that we casted someone. It's that looks this way. It's also something that we got to tell the audience about. And I thought that was a disservice to her story. I think that should be her strength. The fact that she, unlike other superheroes, are not like a white superhero with the traditional or with the customs that are Western. It's the good thing about her is that uh she's gonna get to places in a different way because of maybe her the way she was raised. This show was terrible. This show was terrible at that. They want to humanize, they want to do a good thing and make it so that you, the people who watch this show, go, oh, Kamala Khan, cool. I like her just as much as I like the other guys. How they could do that though is by giving her the best show that Disney Plus has done. It's not the best show that Disney Plus has done. The last two episodes, they traveled all the way to Pakistan. They showed you that Karachi was the city of lights. And she looked outside and she saw all, that montage of just scenery, scenery, scenery. Okay, you're setting the tone. That's what this place looks like. I get it. That's understood. That's something that I would do too if I was in charge of this show. But you didn't need to do it a second time. You didn't need to show me a day in the life of a youth living in Karachi chilling. Have you had biryani before? Yeah, I have. What's your name? Sloth baby. Cool. How did that progress the story at all? It never registered with me how the guy who was throwing daggers at her 1 minute, she was following the next. Maybe if precious minutes weren't taken to be the Karachi traveling tourism guide advertisement. Maybe if they went to explaining how he wins her over and then she starts following him, maybe that would have made more sense to me. But they didn't do that. Instead, they wanted to introduce you to a couple of cousins who the mother didn't even hug for very long. As soon as they got at the airport, that's a longer hug than what we got. And then we went to Sana, who was the grandmother, who was the reason why she's there to talk about the Bengals. The conversation she had about the Bengals, which is of course the reason why she's there, the reason why you spend all that money, the reason why you do all the hours of travel to get there. The conversation was under 3 minutes. We can check on Disney Plus. You can check that on your time, but it wasn't worth the it's like the show forgot what it was. It forgot it was a superhero show and that was the plot and that's why she was here. We go to the next episode where okay, now she's back in time because the Bengal did that. The first 17 minutes of this show were Aisha. This short show which lasts, the runtime is something over 30 minutes, something under 40 minutes. 17 minutes of it had nothing to do with Kamala. It was a way for the show writers, the creators, to introduce you to the partition, to the evil British powers. Of course, they're evil. Killmonger's not here denying that. Fuck them. But the point of the show is to get Kamala Khan over. Did any of the experiences that Aisha went through matter? Or did they ever transfer over to Kamala? No, as soon as Kamala sees her, she's dying. So it's not like what happened there in the first 17 minutes of the show where we're seeing the struggle. She's running, she meets her love, all of that. We already actually knew what happened. We knew that young Sana is going to see some stars and follow we just kind of spent a long time getting there. The partition story and how every family has one is what they said in episode 2. And it was a good way to deliver that because Taisha would want to know something that she would and in so the audience overheard that and the audience was educated a little bit about the history of the family, that country. Good little, way to infuse what you want to do, and which is humanize this part of the world. And if I'll take it like that, I'll spoon feed it. I took I took a teaspoon of education. This dominated this show, and it's not the role of what this show is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the Kamala Khan superhero show, and of course, they don't care about the Kamala Khan superhero show. They're probably not even going to get her name right, which is Ms. Marvel, not Miss Marvel, not Mrs. Marvel, Ms. Marvel, Ms. I said it again. Let me swallow my saliva. So it's Ms. Marvel is how you pronounce the word, actually. It's a two-letter word, and if you pronounce it miss, you're saying it wrong. It's Ms. Marvel. So when they say it wrong in the show, you'll be like, I see. Chillmonger knows what he's talking about. See, they get right what they want to get right, which is the Kamala Khan part of it. But like stuff like the superpowers, no, they don't get that right. They don't care about that stuff. The creators here were like, whew, we never get a chance to showcase our, which is true. We never get a chance for Islam to be represented authentically on this show. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make sure Islam is a good guy. We're gonna have that Agent Cleary mention how the FBI be spying on the Muslims. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Like it was such a like opportunity for these show writers to get their hands on it and say, oh, we're gonna do because there's like 30, 50 years of there's would be 14 years of Marvel where they don't have it. We're gonna get it all in here. And it took away from the story. They should have treated it. No, I think normalization is the best path. If you just normalized her religion as well as her culture, and we just had it happening, people could Google what they were actually doing. Why were they wearing those clothings? Go to Google, figure out. Oh, that's a traditional. Like you could have done something like that, where you let the audience build it on themselves, normalize it, and instead they wanted to, man, slow things down and make it hard to digest. I did take notes about these episodes both on my phone, and I'm looking over at it. Not touched on basically everything, roughly everything. Oh, there was a moment where they were speaking in English rather than Urdu, and then they speak in Urdu for a moment, and they went back to English, and I'm like, bro, just be consistent with one language. And I won't ask these questions, but when you are speaking English to each other, and then you swap it in with a couple of Urdu sentences, I'm gonna go. So why aren't they just having the whole conversation in Urdu? That was bizarre to me. That's nothing. That's like a minor thing. The major thing with this show is that we're taking away time from actually making it a superhero show. What we're gonna get in episode 6 now is, I don't know, the final fight between her and Kamran. Looks like he's got some hard light abilities as well as she does. And I'm not gonna be amped for it. Honestly, every time I see them fight and I see her using her superpowers in this show, I only think about how, wow, this is so not Kamala Khan superpowers. This is Madame Marvel. This is some other character. I thought Carol Danvers would show up in the show. Maybe that's where she'll get her logo, her identity, her like name. Also, she'll be like, "Hey, hey, little Marvel, are you Ms. Marvel?" Like because she'll see that she's dressed that way, but probably not. From the way that the necklace broke, from the letter calf, when you turn it, rotate it 90 degrees, it looks like that lightning bolt thing. So that's what is going to be her clothing, which is cool. It's nice. It's We'll see what happens. Because there's really no past Carol Danvers wearing that outfit in this universe. In the comics, yes, but in the 199999, there's not. So they had to figure out a way to. Oh, she could have just freaking drew a right lightning bolt. Let's be real. They didn't need to, but okay. That's what it is. They infusing it with her past. The bangles themselves, the mystery of are there actually two? Is there actually one? Is I don't know. I just can't care enough. I don't expect some high quality fight because the special effects have never been spectacular in this episode in this series, and I'm low expectations for it. The great thing is though, for just as far as acceptance goes and stuff, fans love this show. Every time I go on Twitter, this is the greatest show. Whoa, Marvel came out of nowhere. We weren't expecting this. I thought it'd be a Nickelodeon, but it's more so. And great. I could tell you what's wrong with it though. It's not much of a superhero show, and they detour it to slow things down and spoon feed you, and it takes away from the superhero show. I've been Chillmonger. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up this video. Check out some of the other stuff. And I was just thinking about this. Ironheart, Riri Williams is not gonna have this disadvantage where the creator's gonna be like, "Oh, we gotta show what it's life in Chicago is like. What do they eat in Chicago?" We're not gonna have that problem. That's why Ironheart's gonna be the best show on MCU.